I've been getting requests from many of you demanding embryology, and today we are here to cover up the embryology part, and we're starting with a systemic embryology topic, that is pharyngeal arches. So I assume that you must have an idea of what is ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm. See, you have read in your small classes or in general embryology if you have covered. Otherwise, let's see if I can do. Then I will make a video of the whole general embryology. It's not much, just some diagrams and all to discuss in general embryo. But today's topic is very interesting. It is about pharyngeal arches. We'll see from where the muscles, the organs like thyroid gland, your parathyroid gland, your tympanic membrane, and various other things arise. From which pouches they arise, and what are the nerve supply of pharyngeal arches? What are the disorders of pharyngeal arches? So it will be a video of pharyngeal arches, and we'll cover the arches in detail. So let me first state you that we have six pharyngeal arches, actually five arches, okay. And I tell that one, two, three, four, and six. Six one is there only, okay. So we have basically five in number, but as per the Roman numeral, we have six, okay. So we'll see first a diagram which will help us to point what are pouches, what are the arches, and what are the clefts, and what is the pharyngeal membrane, okay, and of what they are made up of. Okay, so development of pharyngeal pouches, we have a book named Langman, from which I will take the reference, and we have a diagram also there given. I have not put the diagram here, but do get the chance, then do watch. Let me first draw that. Okay, let me first draw that structure of what I'm actually telling. Okay, what are the pharyngeal arches which are present? Okay, so I will draw the arches in this format. Let me make a color coding first. That whatever I will draw in red, I hope red is okay with you. Whatever I will draw with red are gonna be ectoderm. Okay, are gonna be ectodermal in origin, and whatever I will draw in let's say yellow, that will be endoderm in origin. Okay, so we'll require here ectoderm and endoderm only. I hope my camera is working well. Okay, so ignore the noises if they're coming. Yeah, so let's start. Somewhat shaped like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Done. So this all coverings, basically you can cover this also. The first arch is basically covered wholly by this ectodermal covering, and by inside it is lined by endoderm. Okay, so let me draw here. Just make sure to make notes along with me so that you will not face any difficulty in covering of this topic and later revising the topic. Okay, so this thing, actually the indentations on the outside, that is covered by ectoderm, are called as clefts. These are called as clefts. Okay, the indentation on the inside, okay, and even the whole pouchy like structures which are formed are basically pouches. These all are pouches. Just a minute. Okay, so there was a call. Yeah, I hope I'm visible and audible. Okay, so these indentations are called as pouches, right? And here we put the number 1, 2. Make sure to write it in Roman, 4, and 6. Actually, the fifth arch regresses during the developmental time. We have 6 in number originally, but the fifth one regresses with time, right? So what is the origin of pouches? Pouches will be always endodermal in origin, right? And this clefts will be ectodermal in origin. Will be ectodermal in origin, right? And here, this one, these are called as pharyngeal membranes. Pharyngeal membranes. And this pharyngeal membranes, what are their origin? Ecto plus endo. Am I clear? Done. Because ectoderm and endoderm are in close proximity. Are in close proximity. And remember, the first pouch is covered by only ectoderm. Understood? So these are the pharyngeal arches. These pharyngeal arches are also called as brachial arches, branchial arches. Okay, don't get confused. Understood? So we have, if there is a basically sinus. Whenever the first arch, it forms a sinus kind of thing. A cervical sinus is basically present in the first arch. Like the first arch and the below the first arch specifically, a sinus extends. Okay, a projection extends, and the background behind that is called a cervical sinus. If they persist, they may lead to branchial cyst. Okay, they may lead to branchial cyst. That is a different thing, and that is will be dealt in the clinical years. But we have a very special thing here in the wall of this sixth pharyngeal cleft here. I'm marking it with green. Just look at this. This part. This is called as ultimobranchial body, UBB. Okay, this is called as ultimobranchial body, abbreviated as UBB. Okay, ultimobranchial body. So this ultimobranchial body is actually a remnant of the fifth pouch. Is a remnant of fifth pharyngeal pouch. Okay. So what is the remnant of fifth pharyngeal pouch? Your ultimobranchial body. And remember, what is its importance? We have some neural crest cells. Let's say these are neural crest cells. These neural crest cells, they basically migrate to this ultimobranchial body. Neural crest cells will migrate to the ultimobranchial body. They migrate here, and this will give rise to this migration of neural crest cells to ultimobranchial body will give rise to a type of cells known as parafollicular C cells. I hope you know what is parafollicular C cells, like which we have the thyroid follicles lined by your cuboidal epithelium, and here also. So between them we have some C-shaped cells, right? These are some C-shaped cells. So these are the parafollicular C cells. Understood? If this much is clear, just let me know. And if you have any doubts, put in the comment box. I hope I am clear here. And then we'll move forward to the derivatives of what are derivatives of the pouches basically. We'll see the derivatives of pouches first, then we'll see the derivatives of your arches, right? So let me move ahead to the derivatives of pouches first. Okay, let me first state the derivatives of pouches. So how many pouches are there? Don't tell me five. Don't tell me five. One, two, three, and four. Four pouches, right? Clear? So first pouch, second pouch, third pouch, and fourth pouch. These are the derivatives of pouches. What are the derivatives? Okay. So first looks like one or I. Okay. So you just remember I. First looks like I. So inner layer of tympanic membrane. Inner layer of tympanic membrane. Inner layer of tympanic membrane. If I tell about inner layer of tympanic membrane, I will be associated, I will think about middle ear cavity also, the whole middle ear cavity. I will also think about your auditory tube even, your eustachian tube or your auditory tube. So inner layer of tympanic membrane, just be reminded of your middle ear cavity, and get also reminded of your auditory tube. Or you can remember like this: A. A is the first letter. First letter means first one, right? Don't get confused, right? Then second pouch. Second means two. TWO2. Two for tonsils. And specifically, I'm talking about palatine tonsils. So second pouch gives rise to your palatine tonsils, right? Then three. Three means T. Again T. So we'll have anything starting with T. Thymus. Thymus. Okay. And here remember, we have also inferior parathyroid gland. Inferior parathyroid gland. And fourth one we have superior parathyroid gland. Here we have inferior parathyroid gland. Here we have superior parathyroid gland. Very clear, logical, easy to remember. Yes. Okay. So these are the things which you have to remember here. Okay. Then we'll move to your pharyngeal, a pharyngeal arch. This one, this whole structure. I'm zooming in. This is a structure, right? So here by inside it will be supplied by an artery. Okay. It will give rise to a cartilage and a nerve. Okay. Artery, cartilage, and nerve. CAN. So we'll have a artery here. We'll have a cartilage here. And a nerve also. So every pouch, every arch, not pouch, remember, every arch will be having a artery, a nerve, and a cartilage. It will give rise to cartilage. It will be supplied by an artery, and it will give rise. It will be supplied by a nerve also. Okay. So let me first discuss what are the cartilage part. Okay. Let's move to the cartilage part. That is which arch is giving rise to which cartilage. Okay. Two are there basically. So if I talk about the mesodermal derivatives. So cartilage, is a mesodermal derivative. Mesodermal. So mesodermal derivatives, I have two in number. One, the first arch. It will give rise to the first arch. It will give rise to a cartilage known as Meckel's cartilage. Meckel's cartilage. And the second arch will give rise to Richard's cartilage. Okay, Richard's cartilage. Understood? Just no need to understand, just you have to remember. Okay, just you have to remember it is giving rise to which cartilage. Okay, so basically these are the mesodermal derivatives. Now we'll discuss what are the let me first discuss the nerve supplies of arches. Okay, very easy to remember. Nerve supply of arches. Give it the heading. We'll write it here. Nerve supply of arches. So I'm drawing 5 circles here, and I'm writing the nerves in sequence of which nerve it is supplying. Okay, which nerve is supplying what arch. Okay, I'm drawing 5 circles here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 arches. So first, second, third, fourth, and sixth. Okay, and which nerve is supplying it? So basically, we have five. We have basically a number of post-traumatic nerves is 5, and pre-traumatic is 1. Chorda tympani is the only pre-traumatic nerve that is supplying the arches. So we have here first one. The first one is supplied by B3 nerve. B3 nerve. The second one is supplied by B3 nerve is mandibular nerve. So first arch is also known as mandibular arch, right? And the second one is supplied by 7th nerve. This is supplied by 9th, then 10th, 10th. Okay, 9th nerve. 10th nerve, 10th nerve, but 10th nerve, just ignore the voices. Okay, 10th nerve, here we have the laryngeal, superior laryngeal nerve, and here we have the recurrent. Here we have the recurrent laryngeal nerve. Understood? And here, this B3 nerve, okay, here we have a branch of 7th nerve. You know, facial nerve has a branch which is known as chorda tympani. So here we have a branch also supplying to the first arch, and first arch is supplied by two nerves, out of which this is post-traumatic, this B3 nerve, and this is pre-traumatic. Just don't go into that. Just remember we have the chorda tympani nerve also supplying the first arch, chorda tympani, okay, which is arising from the facial nerve. So here we dealt all the nerve supplies of arches. Just remember the nerve supplies of arches. These are very important and can be asked in vivas and prop exams and many things. Pharyngeal arches is a very important topic. Just focus on all the things which I am telling you. Okay. And according to the nerve supply, if you have read head and neck, you know which muscles are this nerve supplying, right? So you will know that the muscles also are in accordance to that. The muscles also are in accordance to that. Right, like let me give you an example. This let's take third arch. Okay, ninth nerve. Okay, it is supplied by ninth nerve. Ninth nerve supplies which muscle? Stylopharyngeus. Okay, if you have read head and neck, it will be very easy. So ninth nerve, stylopharyngeus. No need to remember, and this you can get in just minutes. Okay, and now we'll start about bony and cartilaginous derivatives of arches, which is very important. Just take me a fresh we take a fresh page and start different color, bony and cartilaginous derivatives of arches. Okay, I'll make a diagram, and by this diagram I'll tell you which arches are supplying what derivatives, right? Okay, so bony and cartilaginous derivatives means what are the cartilages and bones which are derived from that arch. So I'm basically drawing a sagittal section, a very simplified diagram, so as to understand, make you understand of what origin is that. Okay, so let me draw the derivatives of the first arch in white only. Okay, so first I'm drawing first arch derivatives. You don't need to mug up these things, just practice this diagram once, twice, thrice, and you're ready to go, right? So here we have, we'll draw first our mandible. The major derivative is mandible only. Okay, so here I'm drawing our mandible like this. So as to make evident that is teeth, I'm drawing the mandible. Mandible is done. Then we have our spine of sphenoid. You know sphenoid? Rubber spine of sphenoid, and the spine of sphenoid gives a ligament from this to our mandible. This is called spinomandibular ligament. This is spine of sphenoid, and it is giving a ligament known as spinomandibular ligament, right? Done. Then we have our two ear ossicles, malleus and incus. So you know how to draw the malleus in easy way. Just let me draw it like this. This is malleus, and we have an incus. So this is malleus, and this is incus. Done. So these are the derivatives of the first arch. So the first arch derivatives I have drawn in white, right? So what are the things? Mandible, spinomandibular ligament, spinal sphenoid, malleus, and incus. Easy. No need to make a list and remember, or make a mnemonic and remember, right? Then we'll draw another thing, which is your second arch derivatives. I'm drawing the second arch derivatives in let's say yellow. So second arch derivatives, one the ear bones, that is stapes. Two ear bones are already done. Stapes or your stirrups. Stapes. There is a styloid process also here near it. Styloid process. We have a ligament which is going from the styloid process to the lesser cornua of the hyoid bone, to the lesser cornua of the hyoid bone known as stylohyoid ligament, right? So here we have our stylohyoid ligament. And here we have our hyoid bone. In the neck region, we have a hyoid bone, and the hyoid bone has a upper body and a your upper body is there and the lower body is there, and there is two cornua, two horn like projections on the hyoid bone. One is the lesser cornua, one is the greater cornua, right? So the body, the upper body, and the lesser cornua. Here the ligament is going from styloid process to the lesser cornua, right? So here the upper body and the lesser cornua. I am writing UB for upper body, LC for lesser cornua. Upper body and lesser cornua of the hyoid bone are also made up of second pharyngeal arch, right? Then we'll draw the third pharyngeal arch, which I am drawing in green. Third. So the lower body and the greater cornua of the hyoid bone is are derivatives of the third pharyngeal arch, right? So this lower body LB and this greater cornua, right, like this greater cornua are the derivatives of third pharyngeal arch. Easy. Then we have our derivatives of fourth pharyngeal arch, which I am drawing in blue. So all the laryngeal cartilages, remember all the laryngeal cartilages, you can club the both the 4 and 6. So here we'll have all the laryngeal cartilages. I'm drawing the larynx like this. Okay, all laryngeal cartilages. All laryngeal cartilages. Done. Just remember this diagram and you are ready to go with all the bony and the cartilaginous derivatives of these arches, right? So if you are well versed with mnemonics, I no need to write this. Your UB, LC, GC, and LB, you know, upper body, lower cornua, and your greater cornua of the hyoid bone, right? Okay. So that's about all the bony and cartilaginous derivatives, right? Then we'll move to the muscular derivatives of the arches. We'll move to the muscular derivatives, muscle derivatives. Okay, what are the muscle derivatives? First, I'm not discussing it in the form of a table. It's just for simplicity purposes because the table is a cumbersome thing. Okay, either you remember the whole table or you forget the whole thing. Right. So there's no need to discuss it. That we can discuss it scattered and then can put it together in our mind so as to build up a solid, strong concept. Right. So muscle derivatives. First arch. First arch is supplied by which nerve? B3 nerve and chorda tympani nerve. B3 nerve and chorda tympani nerve, right? So all the muscles of mastication will be supplied by this first arch. Okay, not supplied. I'm saying that is innervating or is giving rise to mesodermal components, right? So muscles of mastication. The first arch is giving rise to muscles of mastication. Muscles of mastication. Then another muscles which are TBP and TT. Okay, TBP you know tensor velli palatini, TT you know tensor tympani. Okay, then we have the anterior belly of digastric muscle. You can remember all the muscles supplied by your B3 nerve and chorda tympani nerve. Okay, and mylohyoid also, mylohyoid. If you are well versed with head and neck, I'm sure you will understand what I am telling you. Then the second arch. Second arch is supplied by seventh nerve, that is the facial nerve. Okay, all the facial muscles first, easy. Facial muscles. Your corrugator supercilii or other muscles, your libetal levi, eloquinae, and many muscles are there, right? You can name any of them. Then you have our stapedius. Second arch was giving rise to your steps. Okay, so which muscle? Stapedius. Understood? Then think of other muscles like anterior belly was supplied by first. So posterior belly of digastric, posterior belly of digastric. I'm writing DG for digastric, posterior belly of digastric. Then another muscle, your styloid process and your hyoid bone. Which muscle you think is related to this somewhat? Stylohyoid, right? So I'm writing stylohyoid also. Stylohyoid muscle. Okay, stylohyoid and occipitalis also. Occipitalis. Okay. Then let's come to the third arch. First, second, I'm maintaining the color code as much as possible. So third arch. Third arch is supplied by ninth nerve. Okay, ninth nerve. Remember, ninth nerve. So it is only supplying which muscle? Your stylopharyngeus muscle, right? Stylopharyngeus. Stylopharyngeus. Then come to fourth. Fourth arch is supplied by your superior laryngeal nerve. Superior laryngeal nerve, SLN. Superior laryngeal nerve supplies all the muscles of palate. All the muscles of palate. What is the exception? Comment in the comment section. Okay, all the write it here into comment. Okay, muscles of palate except tensor balli palatini, because tensor balli palatini is supplied by the first arch, right? Except TBP, tensor balli palatini is supplied by the first arch. All the muscles of pharynx, all the muscles of pharynx, every muscle like in the constrictors and all. Okay, except which two muscles? Stylopharyngeus and cricopharyngeus. Except stylopharyngeus. Stylopharyngeus is supplied by your third arch, right? And cricopharyngeus. Done. Understood. And we have another muscle which is cricothyroid. Three muscles. Done. Easy. Okay. I'm taking another color. Although I've taken a different background this time. Okay. Then recurrent laryngeal nerve. So recurrent laryngeal nerve, and by recurrent laryngeal nerve, I mean that it will supplying the cricopharyngeus muscle, which we wrote in exception here. Cricopharyngeus. Then you can remember all muscles of larynx, all muscles of larynx, all the laryngeal muscles, except your cricothyroid, because cricothyroid was supplied by fourth arch, right? Except cricothyroid, except cricothyroid. Understood? So these are the muscular derivatives of the arches. Okay, these are the muscles which you have to remember. Okay, let's deal another last thing of arches. We'll deal it together. It will be easy for us. And this thing is also very logical. Just you have to retain some things, and other things are we have tricks for them. So muscle derivatives are done, and then we'll move to our artery. The what artery is basically supplying which part? Okay, so artery. So what do you think? First arch. Is it related to mandible, maxilla, and all other things, right? So we have our maxillary artery here. Maxillary artery, right? Then second arch. Second arch, basically we have a stapes, and the hyoid bone specifically was being formed by the second arch. Okay, so we have a stapedial artery, stapedial artery, and hyoid artery. Done. Then this third arch. Third arch, remember we have our common carotid and the internal carotid artery. Common carotid artery and internal carotid artery. CCA and ICA, right? Then fourth arch. Fourth arch is being supplied by your arch of aorta and right subclavian artery. Arch of aorta and right subclavian artery. AOA I am writing, and right subclavian artery. Arch of aorta and right subclavian artery. Right. And then the sixth one you have to remember, pulmonary artery and ductus arteriosus. Pulmonary artery and ductus arteriosus. Okay, so this much things you have to remember in the arches. These are the muscle derivatives and the artery supply. Okay, and these things are important. And we have two clinical scenarios here, two clinicals. Just let me discuss it. So we are finished with the arches in detail, and just two clinical things you have to remember. One is the DiGeorge syndrome. DiGeorge syndrome. Okay, so these basically clinical things are related to the arches. Sometimes they can be asked in your by your teacher or in your PG entrances. Defect of third and fourth pharyngeal arches, pharyngeal pouches specifically, is DiGeorge syndrome. Defect of third and fourth pharyngeal pouches. And another syndrome is Treacher-Collins syndrome. Treacher-Collins syndrome. Okay, DiGeorge syndrome is one, and the Treacher-Collins syndrome is one. And this Treacher-Collins syndrome is also known as mandibulofacial dysostosis. Mandibulofacial dysostosis. Okay, and here we have the defect of first and second pharyngeal arches, not pouches, arches. Okay, defect of first and second, second pharyngeal arches. Here I have the pouches and here I have the arches. Remember this. Okay. So here in your DiGeorge syndrome, what will happen? Your second and third pharyngeal, your third and fourth pharyngeal pouch means that will be having the defective signaling between the endoderm and the neural crystals. So basically, we have some cardiological abnormalities like defects of aortic arch and heart. Okay, defect of aortic arch and heart. Some heart abnormalities will be there. And another thing is that your parathyroid glands, remember, was being formed by this second and the inferior and superior parathyroid gland, right? So we'll have our congenital hypoparathyroidism, right? And due to this, your tonsils will be also not formed, right? So we'll have defective T cell functions also, defective T cell functions. Defective T cell functioning. There will have other symptoms like small jaw micrognathia. Micrognathia will be there. Micrognathia will be there. That is small jaw. Right. May have a cleft lip or palate. Okay. Low set ears will be there. Low set ears. Other things you can write. Okay. And here in Treacher-Collins syndrome, a variety of abnormalities occur. There will be underdevelopment of facial bones, especially of the zygomatic bones. Underdevelopment of facial bones. Underdevelopment of facial bones. Okay, there'll be down slanting of the eyebrows. There'll be low your malformed ears. Okay, your malformed external ears. Your malformed external ears. Basically, we have a gene here, TCOF1 gene. Okay, so there is a defect in the TCOF1 gene indicated in Treacher-Collins syndrome. Not much important. Just remember TCOF1 gene defect. Okay, there's a mutation in TCOF1 gene. Okay, due to this, your neural crest cells are basically not much differentiated. Okay, there is some problems in the neural crest cells because there will be if this gene is mutated. If this gene is mutated, I shouldn't go into pathogenesis, but if you want to know if this gene is mutated, then a protein will be formed, a nucleolar protein will be formed, which will be named as treacle. Okay, treacle protein, and this treacle protein will lead to neural crystals abnormalities. So all the derivatives of neural crystals will be your I can say disturbed to some extent. Okay, and here we have a autosomal dominant trait here. Here we have autosomal dominant inheritance. This disease is autosomal dominant. This disease is autosomal dominant. Okay. So very this child will be just, you can Google the pictures if you want to see. And here the trachea is basically some, the airways may be obstructed. So here you should have you can take the help of a tracheostomy to open up the windpipe. Okay, here you may have various abnormalities like hearing defects. Here, you can have drooping eyelids. Okay, your that underdeveloped cheekbones. Okay, many things. Micrognathia may also be seen in the Treacher-Collins syndrome also. Okay, so DiGeorge syndrome is there and Treacher-Collins syndrome is there. Two abnormalities which you have to remember in this pharyngeal arches topic. Okay, two are different. Don't confuse them. So here we'll come to the end of this lecture. This is a short lecture, about 36 minutes. Yeah, about 36 minutes. And in the next segment, we'll try to cover any other short topic of this embryology part. I'm taking embryology as many of you were demanding. One shot is not much possible according to my time and all. So don't panic, and you have variety of resources to use. Just use this as a supplement. Don't depend on this as a main resource. Various videos are there in the your mind channel even, and one shots and other things. So here I'm running out of charge and we are in the end of the topic. Let's meet again in another video. Until then, bye bye and take care.